Okay, this video is going to be about some of the mods I'm having to make to the engine. Start off with installing some headers and some header wrap. Then we'll go through the process of how I made engine mounts to fit the LS1. Now, probably could have bought some off of eBay cheaper than what I had to do them, but had some material, so kind of that's what a lot of us do, is just do with what we make do with what we've got. Then probably the most frustrating part is I did a test fit on the engine and found out that basically the power steering pump and the alternator are too high up, and I'm going to have to relocate those. I've already done this once on the original Diablo that I built, but this is becoming more challenging, trying to find brackets and lots of mistakes, but I am making progress. And then eventually we'll get into the wiring aspect of it, but that'll be a whole nother chapter unto itself. So let's go ahead and get started. My eBay engine did not come with headers. I purchased some headers from eBay with gaskets and mounting hardware. I polled other builders on their thoughts on header wrap, and general consensus was a good idea to do, and now was the time to do it before installing the engine. Purchased some wrap from Amazon and wrapped the headers before I installed them. I need to start working on the engine, and the first thing I need is engine mounts. Now, the engine came with these cool stands, I think from Summit or Speedway. So I've taken one of them off. You see the other one over here, like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and use that as a template, make the plate, and then I'll start fabricating first part of my engine mounts. Okay, got some 1/4 inch plate cut out. That I can use for a template. Now I just have to mark and drill the holes. I've got one done already. So that's one down, one to go. Then I'll start working on actual mounts. Okay, these are the components that I've put together for making my motor mount. This piece will get bolted to the engine. Then these two sides will be welded here. And then I have some energy suspension bushings. Now the original shaft that went in there is too short, so I cut another one, and then this will be what goes on the outside. It'll look something like this when I'm done. Now, there'll be a 2-inch bar or 1.5-inch bar welded to this, which will go down and actually attach to the frame. So there will be a 1/2-inch bolt goes through here, and that will hold the engine to this motor mount. Now, the biggest thing that I've got is drilling these frickin' holes. These got to be 1/2-inch holes down here. And like a lot of other builders, I go through 1/2-inch build. I go through drill bits like crazy, so I just bought 6 1/2-inch drills. So we'll see if I can't drill at least 4 holes with those, and then start assembling. Okay, got the holes drilled and set up like this. I put a spacer washer on the end so that it'd have a little bit of room to actually put it in. So let's get to welding. Okay, motor mounts are finished. The actual, okay, that's the part that bolts onto the LS, obviously. And then these things, I've got extra length on here, and those will actually get bolted to this bracket here, which will be bolted to the frame. So once I get the engine mounted in there, then I'll be able to create a template and figure out how to come down and attach it to this. So progress, slow but progress. I needed to make a fixture for the engine lift for the LS1. Quickly fabricated a bracket to lift the engine to do a test fit. Managed to hoist the engine into the engine bay and soon discovered that the current location of the alternator made it too wide to fit in the engine bay. Okay, another hiccup. I tried test fitting the engine in the chassis, and essentially the alternator over here was hitting the frame. Now I've done this before, so I went and looked at the LS that I put in the Diablo, and the alternator is down here, the power steering pump is up here. So now to get this bracket off, you have to have a power steering pulley removal and installation tool, which I should get today. So once I get that off, get the bracket off, then I'll have to find the associated brackets that I got putting on the LS1 to lower the alternator. So, okay, the power steering pump puller didn't work. The little rim broke, so had to cut the pulley to get the bracket off. And I can't use this power steering pump because of the location where it sits on the engine. So, another expense, buy a power steering pump that fits the new bracketry, and of course have to buy a new power steering pulley because I got that one up. So, good times. I remembered I had the original crate engine installation manual for the LS that listed the accessories needed. Ordered those brackets and initially install the brackets on the power steering pump and alternate do not align with the crank pulley. Further research says the crank pulley on the Corvette has a different offset than a Camaro. Round 2. Returned the brackets and found there's a specific set of brackets for relocating alternator and power steering pump on a Corvette. Ordered that. However, the existing alternator won't work. Need to get a different alternator. Okay, trying to trial fit the motor in there now that I've got the alternator and the power steering pump off, waiting for brackets. I get it in there, and then this part was hitting up against here, so I couldn't move the engine far enough forward. So there's my answer, extend it. And the other thing is the hook had the engine going 90 degrees to what it needed to be. So this is my attempt now. So yeah, I always have to modify things to make it work, but that's what shops are for. Like I always end, if you haven't subscribed and would like to follow along, I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, so next time I have a good video, you'll be able to follow along. Thank you for watching.